William Shakespeare was born in 1564 and died in 1616. Shakespeare was baptized on April 26, 1564, and this is a reason as to why experts say that Shakespeare was born in 1564. Many records of marriages, baptisms, deaths and burials, wills, conveyances, legal processes, and payments by the court are the only things that led experts to know only some things about Shakespeare's life. Shakespeare's parents went by the names of John and Mary Shakespeare, and they lived in Stratford. John was a widower, and he was considered to be of middle class at the time of William's birth. John served in Stratford's government as a council member in 1557, a constable in 1558, a chamberlain in 1561, an alderman in 1565, and a bailiff in 1568. William had 7 brothers and sisters, and he was the first son born and the third child born. There are no real records that Shakespeare went to school, but since the school was built for the sons of prominent citizens, the sons of burgesses attended these schools free of charge. This school was called the Stratford Grammar School, and no one knows how long Shakespeare remained at the school. Later on, William was an apprentice to his father's business, so experts guess that his father withdrew him from school sometime around 1577, as his business was in a rough spot and not doing so well. Shakespeare is very intelligent and clever with words and images, which makes his poetry so interesting and intriguing. Because of this man, Renaissance literature in England reached its peak in the late 1500s and 1600s. After a brief childhood, William went on and married a woman by the name of Anne Hathaway at the early age of 18. There is still a lot more to know about William Shakespeare, so let's bring him on out. Many of us as viewers would like to know how many plays you have written. There seems to be so many, and we would all just like to know how you seem to think of new ideas for each of these plays.
Well, from Romeo and Juliet to Henry V, I have written around 38 plays. When I first started, however, I began writing mainly comedies and histories. Later on in my writing career, I started writing more tragedies. One of the first plays I wrote was entitled A Midsummer's Night's Dream. I wrote this specific comedic play in order to express a unique mixture of romance, fairy magic, and a very low-life comical scenes. These ideas just come to me. That's why I am known as the Bard of Avon, or one of the greatest American writers.
Which of these written plays is your favorite? Why is this particular one your favorite?
I personally think that Romeo and Juliet is the best play I have ever written, and that is why it is my favorite. In this stage of my life, I was writing a lot of tragedies, and that's why Romeo and Juliet is my favorite. Even though Romeo and Juliet's families were in a constant battle, Romeo and Juliet began to fall in love. At the end of the play, it was a tragedy when the audience had found out that Romeo and Juliet had both killed themselves. The romantic side of the story appealed to not only my audience, but to me too.
It seems that after many of your poems and plays were introduced, there were a lot of unknown words that you invented. What made you invent these words? How were you sure that the viewers and readers would understand these specific words?
Indeed, I invented many new words, as one may say. I changed about 1,700 common words into words of my own. Yes, I counted. In order to make up new and fascinating words, I changed nouns into verbs, verbs into adjectives, added prefixes and suffixes, and connected words that have never been used together before. Words like bedroom, gossip, and birthplace have been invented by myself. Since not many people are educated, some of my words weren't exactly understood. However, there were other people that understood my words because they had a higher education.
How do you feel knowing that your outstanding plays are performed to the ever so popular Globe Theater? Was it one of your goals to have built this work of art?
Years ago, I used to perform my plays at a local theater until the lease expired. Then I decided to build the Globe Theater by using old timbers and used material from the other local theater. In 1598, the Globe Theater was officially open to performances. It holds more than 1,500 people, and it was a great investment on my part. It allows many people to watch my plays being performed, and that is the greatest feeling. However, that number reached over 3,000 when people started watching the performances from outside of the theater. Building the Globe Theater was definitely a great way to increase the number of people coming to watch my plays.
We heard that you are writing a new play called Hamlet. Could you tell us a little bit about it to give our viewers a sneak peek on what's to come?
I cannot spoil the surprise, but I can tell you some things about Hamlet. In this play, I established a dark and melancholy tone. I was aiming to portray 4 themes in Hamlet. Out of the 4 themes, I will tell you 2 of them. One is the complexity of action, and the other is the mystery of death. I know you would love to know more about this play I'm currently writing, but you are just going to have to wait for it to come out.
What is your favorite food?
I really don't have a favorite food. However, tortellini recipes, stuffed lobster, and liver pate chicken baked in a bowl are among the best tasting foods. These specific foods are eaten by many people and used in many different kinds of main dishes. For dessert, nutmeg and sugar are used to make the dessert taste as good as it looks. I think the dessert is irresistible.
Many critics argue that the plays you have written are not your own works. Do you feel cheated that many outside influences think that about your plays and poems?
I, in fact, do feel cheated. I went to school in Stratford for many years studying grammar, and that is one of the main reasons why I became so interested in writing poetry. As a child, I had a lot of access to books. Reading fascinated me, and I instantly became aware of what I wanted to do with my life. Many folks believed that the Earl of Oxford wrote the plays that I wrote. However, to prove this false, he died before many of my other plays were published.
What does your clothing style consist of?
Well, along with my handy boots, I wear what most of you guys wear. I can never forget my breeches, shirt, jerkin, or my hat. I need to have those pieces of clothing on at all times, because if I don't feel as if I am part of the Elizabethan era. Many of my clothes are made out of flax, wool, and cotton, although cotton is pretty expensive.
I could bet that everyone here is dying to hear this answer. Have you prospered in wealth since you started writing?
I can honestly answer this question as a yes. Don't think that I became rich right away or anything, because that is not the case. But when you are an excellent playwright like I am, it is very easy to become famous and popular. As a result of becoming popular, money was made in the process. At the age of 15, I purchased the second largest house in Stratford, and it was called The New Place. I've made a lot of investments in my time, and that is another source of my wealth.
Many of your plays suggest that you believe in a superior being. Would you mind speaking out about your religion?
I don't mind sharing that I am Catholic. Because I was baptized when I was a baby, I was raised in a household which believed that God was the supreme being. I don't speak out against Protestants, however. Many of my family members are Protestants, and I have no disagreements about what they chose to believe. Many of my plays also contain Catholicism. I am not afraid whatsoever to speak about my religion or what I think is right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching M&K Entertainment.